Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Over what just happened just the night ago, we of course had Friday Night Smackdown. So, it's time for all of us to cry in a violent pool of our own tears because SmackDown had to air. Jesus Christ. Okay, let's just go over this as quick as possible. Of course, the biggest news being Sami Zayn vacating the Intercontinental title because of 30-day rules. You at least have to defend it at least once over the month for you to keep the Intercontinental title. Somehow became vacant because Sami Zayn hasn't been on TV for over, I think, 2 months. Over last appearing, defending the Intercontinental title back at WrestleMania against Daniel Bryan, where he ended up winning. Don't know why. Probably personal issues thanks to what we have now. Probably health issue. Hopefully he comes out okay and I get to see him on TV because he's an alright promo. If only he had more of a character, I would be more interested on calling him, actually having some more positive things to say. And they actually had interesting storylines other than referencing the best thing he did in his career was facing off against Shinsuke Nakamura in a really just overrated feud he had with Kevin Owens. And then fucking him up with Bobby Lashley. But that's beyond the point. We have a tournament. That's the most positive thing I can say. The worst thing is who's in the tournament. The worst thing is the brand by brand invitational for some dumb reason because both brands can't draw people to watch. And still nobody else was trying to watch. To go up and DMs and shit like that, trying to ask, okay, bro, you watching SmackDown? We can have a convo while watching the show. No, I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch SmackDown. It's just absolutely aggravating. And the desperate sanctity of just having feud for feud. You don't have guys like Cesaro, the Dolph Ziggler, Miz or John Morrison, or Jackson Riker in the tournament. I think they have Jackson Riker. I haven't looked at the full-on bracket. I think I'm just gonna pull it up because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just aggravated because I thought this show was about to be better. High intention in there. You have a new Money in the Bank winner. Baron Corbin is still not treated seriously, even though he's King of the Ring. So you expect something to be different other than he loses to the same guy he lost since WrestleMania. And he's getting in these multi-month feuds and he's never getting taken seriously except he's calling himself the King. Looking like a cancer patient that spent way too much on Burger King. But this is the tournament. If you guys haven't watched SmackDown. Elias versus Corbin. AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Yet they did Drew Gulak versus Daniel Bryan that was associating as a team since after Elimination Chamber of this year. Then Jeff Hardy versus Sheamus. Why is AJ Styles in the tournament but not a guy that can obviously, grab some headlines like Cesaro? I understand he's been underwhelming in the upper mid card, but I'd rather have that than just have him continue losing every goddamn week. Who doesn't want to see Nakamura versus Cesaro? Or just switch up the tournament and make Cesaro face off against Daniel Bryan, then you have Gulak face off against him in the next round. The only matches that you could see are literally just Jeff Hardy and Sheamus. Somehow Tucker is not even in the tournament, even though he's been part of the SmackDown roster for a minute. And he was just in a involving storyline with, of course, Mandy, Ziggler, Sonya, Otis, and yeah, that's pretty much it. And Jesus Christ, just make something that feels like a storyline. They're just doing this for the smarks. Who the fuck wants to see Styles and Nakamura for the umpteenth time? Other than just, I guess, for the brand by brand invitational, that's just the softer way of saying we're gonna make a slower wild card round, even though we haven't built up a personality for both Raw or SmackDown. What's a complete difference other than they're both for the fans and they are on two different time slots on two different channels. I mean, not different time slots. They're just on two different channels, and one has a smaller duration period. No one cares. The Intercontinental title has been devalued at this point. Back only 3-4 years ago, like 2-3 years ago, this used to be the belt. because Brock Lesnar only like fucking defended his title annually. And coming around, The Miz was only the top guy because he's the only one that could speak, pick it up in the ring, highlight matches, and actually tell stories when he was holding the Intercontinental title. He's the only top guy to watch. The Intercontinental title has been at least defended under a month and over Braun Strowman in a long-awaited singles run, and he gets pinned by Sami Zayn in a title match he asked for in a handicap match. He's done for that entirely. And if Sami Zayn wasn't going to go through it all, he vacates it. And so does Becky Lynch, because like there's only ways you can get pregnant. And you're telling me over all that time, Seth Rollins busts in the most toughest thing that it is holding a title, where they had so much stuff for you, and you just thought now to get pregnant. It's weird, but still, congratulations to Becky Lynch, I have to say. Then there was a Miz TV that involved Morrison and Miz that had to deal with, the current Money in the Bank briefcase holder out of Otis. Jesus fucking Christ, why? Just why Otis? Why Otis? It's still, uh, tensions blew off, and then he has to pick a partner of his own choosing. And rejections came by that he even had a Sheamus mockingly say fella like when he was babyface. And then Braun Strowman became the partner, and then he'll say, think about he's babyface, of course he's gonna help him. So, yeah, that's practically it. Next, we had a boring ass match with Elias and King Corbin. What was supposed to happen? Bicycle knee. Corbin does his dumb shtick that he does, lariats and all that shit, a deep six where it's a near fall. And then, it's not even gonna end off Elias' own finisher. It's gonna end off a dumbass roll up to feel like Corbin got cheated out of his match. Because they have no way how to make a strong heel. Especially a guy who still wears a fucking vest while wrestling. And he doesn't even have a character. The guy didn't mind being shirtless the time when he had long hair with a receding hairline, looking like he raped a biker behind a rock. And you're telling me Corbin's now wearing a fucking vest. He's wearing a fucking black wife beater in the middle of a wrestling match. But Elias advances in the Intercontinental title tournament. And I was thinking, why not just make him Intercontinental Champion? I don't know why they haven't made him Intercontinental Champion. It's so easy. It's like a mix of Eli Drake with Jeff Jarrett. Good wrestling ability and a great talker that can get any type of reaction from the fans. Why not capitalize on a guy like that and put a title up his ass so you can actually make him something? But no, they'd rather give it to bland guys that are like, I am for the fans. It just gets aggravating. It's played out and it feels blanket. It feels corny, in my opinion. I never wanted like WWE to hang up to these liles because we know how corny WWE could be. But at least they actually have the wrestlers showing their personality. Next up, we had Naomi and Dana Brooke wrestle. And Dana Brooke wins again against Naomi. One time they faced each other in the qualifiers for the Money in the Bank qualifiers for the Money in the Bank corporate ladder match back like nearly a month ago. And Dana Brooke won via roll-up. Guess how she won? A fucking schoolboy. She did this flipping shit. There was barely any storytelling being made except the commentators being like, "Oh, I can't wait for this match." Dana Brooke obviously wants to build herself up in the women's division, so they're obviously trying to push Dana Brooke. A surprising super kick by Naomi and Enziguri, but it was a quick sunset flip for a pinfall, and then Dana Brooke pins her again. A former Smackdown Women's Champion, and we devalue her just to pull a singles run for a woman that's obviously not that exciting in the ring. She doesn't have a personality. She has a Botox fucking face that looks like Coco from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends with bleached hair. And she doesn't really captivate anybody. Who says they ever want to get a Dana Brooke toy other than to lick her vag and you just looked at her one time in IAG and you thought she looked good in them fucking jeans? I've never thought WWE would stoop this low, and this is over a majority of WWE just sucking the dick of the women of the four horsewomen because they won titles on NXT that makes them a hot commodity, even though 3 of the 4 are actually interesting wrestlers to watch. Next up, we had Charlotte Flair's return to Smackdown after winning the NXT title, even though she's a Raw superstar. And well, she won the Rumble, that makes sense. But that makes no sense that the NXT title should be available. We didn't even that much establish NXT being a third brand since like Survivor Series of last year. And that was when they were sort of kind of making Survivor Series seriously, even though it was just a grab just to get viewers because the only way they captivate good storytelling on Survivor Series is just brand by brand now, so it's just bragging rights plus Survivor Series. I'm not saying that you can't do SmackDown versus Raw, but make that minor unless you've got an exciting story to tell other than we're just going to make the top stars wrestle for just some fucking reason. Sorry for cussing this much, folks. I really don't. It's just a boring show, and we have the same promo by Charlotte Flair by holding a title for the umpteenth time for no storytelling available except referencing that she's a dominant woman, that she's the queen, and she thinks that because she references the woman from NXT means people are gonna tune in to watch Mia Yim get into a boring match, or anybody else like Tegan Knox, or anybody else that she wrestles for the women's title, and then Bailey come around, going, "Yeah, bruh, yeah, go NXT, roast it." It's goddamn boring. And it's supposed to be completely different of a personality, even though Charlotte's a heel, and so is goddamn Bailey. And so is goddamn Sasha Banks. And then Charlotte comes around, I guess neutral at this point, bringing up how much of the boss she becomes. And now you gotta carry Bailey again to hold on to the SmackDown Women's title, even though I thought tensions were gonna grow after WrestleMania. Thanks. Sasha Banks was eliminated thanks to Bailey in the Elimination 5-Way match. So I thought there was going to be more storytelling there, but you know how WWE is. Somehow long-term storylines, they somehow have PTSD from, or they can't remember it, or they have Alzheimer's because it's like over centuries long that they forgot how long-term storylines work. And you add 4 years of the goddamn 4 horsewomen, you can't make a repetent storyline unless it involves whatever the fuck happened, like on NXT Brooklyn. NXT TakeOver Brooklyn, the first one. So, I'm sorry if I'm not that interested in Bailey looking like a Hispanic autistic auntie, and Sasha Banks looking like some girl I fucked back in my junior year of high school, and Charlotte still doing the same blooded promo that makes no damn sense why, when she still has the same character as she did since 2015. Or 2016 when she won the women's title when they redid it, not like it's a new women's championship. So Bailey challenged her into a match after questioning Sasha Banks' ways of why she still sticks with Bailey, even though she's a future Hall of Famer in her opinion. Next up was one of the best matches in the show: Daniel Bryan versus Drew Gulak. But here's the bad thing of that. The commentary should be barely anything was over the top rope. There was not a lot of kicks, just pure grappling and technical ability. Over like a double hook into a pin. The match wasn't even one off the yes lock. It was one off some kind of heel hook or something because of dragon screw that looked destructive, and then he focused on that leg until he got the submission off. It was a great match. If there's any fucking reason that you should rewatch SmackDown, watch that match if you're a big fan of technical wrestling. Or you watched Benoit and Kurt Angle before, and you just want to masturbate. But beyond the point of you being a smart, the match was great. I was literally trying to make my own commentary because it felt like they were just like, Oh my God! What a grapple by Daniel Bryan. Oh my God! Did you know Daniel Bryan was You know they wrestled each other before. You take it like these guys had a relationship for years, even though it's only been like 2 months that they issued tagging together and associating with each other. You take it like they didn't wrestle back at Elimination Chamber just this year. Come on, guys. At least try to tell a bit of a story, or try to be a bit more interesting in the commentary when these guys are wrestling nonstop and barely taking any break time. I think there was one top rope move completed in the match. It was a good change of pace for most of the Daniel Bryan matches that we'd be seeing. But Bryan didn't win, but it wasn't off a yes lock. And that shocked the hell out of me. So he enters the semifinals where he has to face off anybody that wins the next match. And we got our main event, with obviously Braun Strowman being the tag team partner of Otis. And there was a one-off, some attempt on a Hurricane Run. I know he's going to counter for a power slam because the time slot. And there was barely much exciting in this match. There was barely much up to this match other than babyface versus heel. Mandy came for what looked to be a quick distraction for Otis so he can pick up a schoolboy or hit him with the briefcase or anything like that, but then Otis treated it like a joke. And it took out like Strowman shouldn't have left the ring immediately. And they still continued celebrating in the ring even though there was no fans. So it should have just been, I can't trust this guy anymore. That's the last time I'm tagging with him. I'm out of here. Before he tries to cash in at me. He almost had his chance. Like simple storytelling like that, especially when you have no crowds around, you have no fans to try to like whoa, woo, yay, all that shit. It should be strictly storytelling from the basis. You have the most important championship on SmackDown. You have the most important tool so you can get that title as quick as possible in the way you want it. So I'm shocked that WWE isn't doing shit like that because Otis is a dumb baby face, likable fat dude. And somehow we overshadow Tucker in all of this, even though they should be focusing more on Tucker, since they had a successful tag team going that was supposed to be pushing for the SmackDown tag titles. And immediately after the Mandy and Sonya Deville storyline with Dolph Ziggler, completely overshadowed him just for Otis to get the pussy and Tucker to just go nowhere. He didn't even have a singles run. This guy lost twice to Dolph Ziggler. Well, not technically 50-50, thanks the other one ended in a DQ. But besides the point, he ends up always going down at the end of it. And Otis is just there to pick up the pieces. So I thought that would be basic storyline. A basic storyline. Like, Otis has all this baggage now. Except they're probably going to do this and we're probably going to not remember it in like 3 months. Because WWE sucks at long-term shit. Even though the Mandy Rose and Otis storyline has been the most upside SmackDown ever had to be airing, because they don't know how to actually treat champion seriously. They have no idea how to actually treat their young talent seriously, or their tag division seriously. I'm being honest. It's just me. I'm shocked Jackson Riker, Tucker, The Miz, Morrison, or Dolph Ziggler, that still has nothing to do except feud with still Otis and Mandy, even though he has nothing to win. But probably they're gonna do some dumb, oversaturated storyline with him probably ending up putting the briefcase on the line, and they're probably gonna do something dumb as to make Dolph Ziggler win it. Hopefully not, but that's due to that's just onto bad idea memories from WWE. It's not the first time they did it before. I mean, fuck it. Mr. Kennedy won Money in the Bank back at WrestleMania 23, and then he ended up losing it to Edge in a match that involved that thing on the line. And then guess what? He cashed in and beat The Undertaker. But it was Edge. It was Edge. What'd you expect? Uh, but Ziggler, I guess they're still trying to make him into a tough singles guy. But if they wanted to, why didn't they just put him in the tournament? They take it like they don't have guys that are singles acts that have nothing to do. Tucker has nothing to do, and Jackson Riker has nothing to do. And he's treated as his general enforcer, so why not put him in the tournament facing off against Nakamura? But I understand that he's a new guy, so I guess they need him to get more gelled up in the ring. So they're probably going to give him a squash match of 3 or 5. before they actually put him into a real match or feud. But that's literally Raw. I mean, SmackDown. Both were terrible. The SmackDown's worse. Gotta put that in my mind. I gotta put that in my mind, folks. This show was terrible. Other than the Bryan and Gulak match, nothing about the show actually is worth rewatchability. We didn't have a vignette by The Fiend. We didn't have anything that feels like it's going to continue being ongoing. All we have is another tournament match involving Nakamura and Styles for some reason. All because of the Invitational, I guess. Somehow Styles, buried alive, and somehow he just got himself into a tournament on SmackDown, even though he's a Raw superstar. But that's just besides the point. We have Bayley versus Charlotte again. You take it like that we don't have memory of these assholes wrestling for like nearly 5 years. And of course we have a mixed tag team match that at least gotta be the most entertaining thing to watch, involving Sonya Deville with Ziggler against Otis and Mandy. What's Strowman gonna do? No one cares until they give him a feud that's gonna barely take any development. So that's technically it for SmackDown. This gets a 3 out of 10. Other than issuing a tournament, a good first round match. There was only one good first round match. I guess. Pretty good promo off Sonya Deville. There's not that much. There's not that much. There's really no rewatchability with any of these SmackDowns. Even like second half of the era of SmackDown Live, at least they have alright promos. The matches were exciting. The tag division was actually fun to watch at times. But Jesus Christ, I understand the situation they have now, but that's no excuse to make a good show. There's no excuse why, with the pieces you can, with actual continuity involved, you can make a good fucking show. There's no excuse. There's no excuse. But that's it coming from me. Hope you guys comment down below how you felt about Friday Night SmackDown. Love to read your comments. Don't just type you want to be friends. I know those are bots, please. I need to find a way to get rid of them. But comment down below, like this video, and subscribe so you can, get more into the DST show. That's it coming from me.